Hi, welcome back to another episode of Time Out with Gabby. With me here is a member of the House of Ebony. Call me Kix.
Hey.
Welcome to my show, finally.
Finally.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I've been better. Somebody tried to rob me or whatever, but I'm good.
The audacity. But regardless, you're looking pretty. The skin is skinning.
Juvia's
Melanin is
place.
popping. So let's dive right into it. So you want to walk us through your childhood journey as little Kix?
Oh, damn. How much time we have? Yeah.
Just a summary.
Just a quick summary. So I turned 30 in June, actually.
Oh my God.
My
Happy early
birthday's.
birthday.
Thank you. My birthday's on June 11th. I've moved all over this fucking province. Like I think we lived in Grand Prairie for a bit when I was really young. I'm not going back there. When I was in grade like 3, we moved to Wales for a bit. So I lived in England.
Yeah.
Then we came back to Edmonton. And then, I've just been kicking it here the whole entire time. So.
I mean, like, I think through your Instagram, you've helped most of us know you better about your performance career. But do you want to walk us through your coming out story and how your childhood was like in general, being you?
Being me, yeah. I knew I wasn't straight in grade like 4 or 5. Could never figure out why I didn't like the boys, like every other girl kind of did. But being in a Black family can be very homophobic.
True.
So I didn't actually come out until about 2018. Me and my best friend went to Pride in New York, and when I came home, I was like, I don't want to live like this anymore. But I had just started a new job at the time. So I told my best friend and my mom and my fiance, and then the rest of the world just kind of found out when they found out. That's the only people I felt the need to tell. And then, I've been performing for 18 years.
Oh
I
my
feel so old.
Not a minor anymore. So, you want to walk us through your performance career? Like, when did you start performing? Because personally, I know you as a hoop person, and now you've transitioned into this clownery superstar. And
I started in hip hop classes and an African dance group with my family and my uncles. So we performed at like Heritage Days and the Windspear and some places in Calgary and shit. And then when I turned 18, I started go-go dancing. That troupe was horrible, though. I won't name any names.
Go-go dancing is it's a whole job on its own.
And it's a lot of work for not a lot of money. And then, I picked up a hula hoop and I started performing at EDM festivals. So I've performed at honestly most of the ones in Alberta. But then I quit that in 2020 because it's just like a lot of white nonsense is all. Then I started doing burlesque. Bitch Sassy and Carla Marks brought me into that. I met them at a COVID Pride event, and Bitch just kept on trying to get me to do it. And I was in a bad headspace at the time, but I'm happy she never stopped. And then they brought me into like an internship with like burlesque, and Carla said that she does draglesque. And I've always had like a love I've always had a love for drag. So now I just take everything I've learned and everything I know, and I put it into all of the shows that I do. So
when was your drag debut?
Rom's show, actually, Romulus asked me to be in a Going to Hell show, so I did. That was like what I consider my first official drag set. Like,
was
last
it
year.
At the Glass location?
No, not the Glass House. It was at Evo, and it was called like Going to Hell. So it was like me, Rom, but it was a really good time. But I did a Dr. Falliser act from Princess and the Frog. You were there.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, that was technically like my drag debut, I guess you could say. But
I mean, like, you've been amazing, and you're doing something different. Like, not a lot of people do what you do, which is great. Recently, you've been speaking up for the Black and the Indigenous community. Why do you think that is important, and why are you speaking up now? Why are you speaking up now in your 18th year of performing?
Oh, I've been like this for a while.
Okay.
Like maybe people haven't gone far enough back in my Instagrams or anything like that, but I've been very, very loud and very, very outspoken for probably a decade of my performance career. And then when I got out of doing EDM festivals, like I
Hmm.
genuinely thought I wasn't going to perform again because I got blacklisted. But you know, like 2020 when George Floyd died fucked a lot of us up. And it's exhausting. It's
It really
exhausting
is.
to be out here because we don't get to just show up and like perform or get bookings like everybody else, right? Like it's exhausting to have to like when you're online and you see people debate your life, because before I'm queer, before people think I'm a woman, before any of those things, like I'm a black person first,
Yeah.
right? And there's just so much hatred, there's so much anti-blackness here in Alberta. um, Now, I posted the video about equity and equality, and I didn't expect that many views and posts and shares and shit like that. And then I fucking disappeared for 10 days. But like,
And you became
I
this viral superstar.
oh my God, that's already come with its own problems. But I always speak up. I've been very, very loud. And then when I finally like was able to come out and like tell my story, it's like weird, right? Like you're black, so if you're queer, there's so much homophobia in the black spaces. But if you're in queer spaces, there's so much anti-blackness. So it's just
Yeah.
one of those
It's intertwined.
situations. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of intersections that we all trying to hit. So as far as I'm concerned, like I'm gonna continue to be loud and outspoken, and people don't like it. That's fine. Like I've diversified my portfolio quite a bit. That I don't ever depend on one faucet of anything.
True, which is good.
Yeah.
Accurate. Like if you're not into drag, you're into burlesque, or you're into go dancing, or you're into hoops, like that is like your arsenal is massive. Do you think speaking out has really changed anything? Because I told the last guest that personally, I think that on certain topics that if I see that there's no change, I really would not pursue that stuff. But you, like you mentioned, you have been doing this for the past 18 years, and nothing has really changed, obviously, because if it has changed, you wouldn't be doing that still. But why do you still keep doing it? Like, what motivates you to do that?
Well, shit, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't money because we're all broken existing in capitalism. But, you know, like 3 years ago and even before that, somebody much smarter than me once said, um, we need to stop fighting so hard to fit into these white spaces that want to ostracize us and make fun of us, and we need to start creating our own spaces. And so that's a big portion of what I do and why I keep kind of going. And I was like a lot of you, like probably 6 or 7 years into my journey, I was gonna quit. Like I was so fucking tired of everything. But I got an opportunity to fly to New York and be in a music video when I was really, really young. And there's a lot of Black people out there doing a lot of amazing things. So usually, like once a year, but mostly once every 3 years, I will go out of my way and spend a lot of money to go see Black art somewhere else. Because it gives me the push and the drive to kind of keep going and bring that back
Yeah.
to Alberta. The hardest thing, I mean, if we all pack up and fucking leave, then people are going to be like, oh my God, there's no people of color to cast in our shows. But that's kind of my main thing, I guess, is like I really want to start producing my own shows. I eventually would like to have my own space somewhere, and start producing like more cabaret kind of style shows. And fuck, someone gonna cancel me, but like I don't like the term POC.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I think it really erases it really erases a very specific flavor of racism that Black and Indigenous people in Alberta, Canada, across the globe kind of face. And we don't have the same struggles. Like, I was just educating somebody the other day that, like, did you know the N word exists in almost every single language across the globe, right? Like,
Hmm.
somebody
Yeah.
somewhere in their own language has a version of the N word. And, like, again, that's a flavor of racism that not every person of color experiences,
Yeah.
right? So like people being anti-indigenous and anti-black is very, very prominent. And I think we can be a little bit more intentional with our language when we're speaking. Like if you're talking about all people of color, that's fine, but I think you really got to be specific when you're
On black,
talking.
yes, if you're talking about black people, be specific.
Exactly.
Indigenous, be specific. You know, like Yeah, because people tend to abuse the term. You know, when I say, "Oh, we're booking POCs," it's like, "Oh, it's the same set of people."
Yeah.
Not black and indigenous, but POC.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. And like you mentioned earlier, you fly out to support people of color. You fly out to support black performers. Correction. You fly out to support black performers, and I believe that's how I met you when you came to watch me perform, and I believe that's how majority of the House of Ebony are. Like that's how you met us, and that's how we met you.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about why you decided to join the House of Ebony?
Well, I mean, I think we were all very intentional when I first met everybody. So like you were just working at Evo at the door, and I was like, who is this beautiful black queen with a 40-inch bust down to the ankles? Like, what the fuck? Where you get this from? And then you posted that you had your first show at 9910. So
Yes.
I dragged my ass there. It was so cold, but it was so good to see you perform. Soul, I met at I was just stage managing like an Asian cabaret show. Like I was just behind the scenes helping, and Soul was there. Soul, she had added me on Instagram like a couple of months before that, and asked me to mentor her. And I was like, girl, I don't know what I'm doing, but like we could like learn together. And then Saint, I met at a Black owners market. They were vending for their stuff. And shortly after we had met and added each other, their partner had messaged me that they wanted to plan like a birthday surprise. So we spent the day together. I taught them how to make pasties. We went shopping. I taught them to be a little bit more comfortable in their body and shake their ass. And then I actually got into burlesque before Carla Marks and Bitch Sassity. I was working Beer Fest, and Luna was the only Black performer there, and was so nice to me. She was so nice to me, and like did such a good job on stage. So like when we all kind of had the idea, I mean, I think honestly it's something we've all been thinking about for a really long time.
Yeah, for the past how many years now we don't have like this coming together of Black people.
Yeah. So, and I think it's very beautiful how much kikiing and like love we have for each other, because we don't treat it just as like a performance house, you know, like it's not a business per se. Like
that's correct.
It's not a business. It's not one of those things. Like we hang out, we have a really, really good time, and it just feels nice to be around people who get it, that you don't have to like shrink yourself down for, like be so specific in your tone, and like if you're getting fucking angry, you're never going to be like, girl, don't get mad, you know? Like, yeah, so it feels good to be seen. And even though we're so new, the ball was amazing. You were in Vancouver having your own little kiki. And
and you won best dress, honey. Slay. Can you walk us on your journey towards that, like your experience? Like, how did you prepare for that? Like,
yeah, I have a lot, like 18 years of performing means I've got a lot of shit in my house. And I've been watching ballroom for a really, really long time. You know, when you're a little Black queer kid on YouTube and you can't find anybody who looks like you. And I can't even remember the first time I saw ballroom, but then when it got brought to the mainstream, I just fell in love with it, because like, it's not the most accessible all the time, but like if you can't dance, or maybe you're injured, like you can do a best dress based category. Like it's not all about dancing. It's not all about hand performance. So leading up to the ball, I didn't have a lot of money, but I did have this beautiful, beautiful dress. And I was worried that it wasn't going to fit in with the theme until Tiago was like, you can use flowers and the spring vibe in different kind of ways. So like I showed up, there was only a handful of us who were walking the category, and I feel like I knew when I walked in, I was like, I'm taking this motherfucking grand prize home. So yeah, that was kind of me prepping for it and just kind of like getting ready, and like got chopped in my hand performance, and that's okay, because if it's a chop, girl, go back to the drawing board, practice a little bit more, and come back for the next ball. So
absolutely. What would you say is your favorite performance to date, both drag, in all your performances? What would you say is your favorite?
I have a lot of very beautiful moments. Thank you, Bo Creep. I love you so much. But ever since I met Bo, all teas.
We love you, Bo.
We love you, Bo.
Be on my podcast.
I'd say one of my favorite performances to date has been my Break the Chains act, the first time I debuted it at All Teas, All Shade with the big wings.
Yeah.
People were kind of pressuring me at the time to buy dance fans and buy burlesque stuff. And I was like, what if I buy 50-foot angel demon fucking wings instead? And like, just like the emotion in the room and like how still everything was, that person getting fucking possessed in the middle of my set and screaming.
Yeah, I remember. Oh my god.
I still don't know who that was, but I'm glad they had a good
I was
time.
like, wait, what?
But that is my best performance I've ever done.
And it's almost a year ago.
Yeah, it's about a year,
Yeah.
and I've taken it to a lot of different stages outside of Edmonton too, and it is very well received every time I go around. So
That's amazing. So what would you say is your least favorite performance?
When like my least favorite performance, not in drag, not in burlesque specifically, was when I was go-go dancing at EDM festivals, because like I'm doing a lot of very cool shit on the stage, but people just aren't there to take it in. Yeah, you know what I mean? So that was a big portion. I put my hula hoop down for like 3 years. I didn't fucking pick them up. I was like, I need a break from this. My body hurts. But yeah, that era of my life probably is some of my like least favorite performances.
So did you learn how to use the hoops? Because I mean, I would tried it before, but honey, it's not spinning.
I could teach you, girl.
But then I see you and I'm like, okay, is it the body? I don't understand. Like, I need to learn that.
You guys, it's when I first learned how to hula hoop, actually, I was at a festival that no longer exists in Edmonton, and there was just some little raver girl there with a light up hula hoop, and she let me use it, and she was doing so many cool things, and I'm a very petty person, so like I looked at her and I was like, you give me 8 months and I'll be able to do this. So I went home, I would practice for like 2-3 hours a day. And it, like, honestly, when people see me when I hula hoop, and even when I do it now, I don't like to work out. I don't like high impact workouts, and I fucking hate being sore. So hula hooping is a very great way to like stay in shape, learn your body a little bit more. Yeah. And I'm a teacher, girl.
Taking it notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's incredible, because when I see people do cool things, I'm like, how do they do it? But then I say to myself, if I can do it, it's fine. As long as you can do it, that's amazing.
Everything, like besides the like classes and like when I first got into a lot of things, like the people who really kind of took me under their wing and like taught me some stuff, like I paid for some classes, but for the most part, I'm all self-taught. I'll see a video online and I'll just fucking try it. And if I fail, I fail. I'll pick it up and do it again. So
it's just like the driving test.
I'll go back, keep trying.
Let's talk about love. I know you're engaged.
Yes, right? I'm not wearing my ring. Don't tell him, but I don't like to I didn't want to lose that, so I leave it at home a lot. But
you want to tell us about your love story?
Yeah,
inspire those young Black people out there.
So me and Dylan met. We've been together for 8 years, but I'd say we met about a decade ago. He was a DJ and I was a go-go dancer. Yes, I know, so many red flags.
I don't see him as a DJ.
He is. If you go, he's not on social media that much anymore, but his name was Winter, and he's performed at some of the biggest shows in Edmonton. And so he asked me to go dance for his set, and I had a crush on him, and I thought he had a crush on me. But then when I got to the venue, it was at Union, he like ran up, gave me the biggest hug, kissed me on the cheek, and then he literally ran to the other side of the bar. And I didn't talk to him for the rest of the night except to like dance for his set. And I genuinely didn't think he liked me. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I've misread the signs. Then I was at another show, and I was in between. This is like the beginning of the Tinder area, you gotta remember, right? Because I'm fucking old. Like, I was in between 2 very awkward dates that were happening. They had met off Tinder or something like that. And I was standing there, and then I went on Facebook the next day and made a post about just how weird that was, because I don't really do online dating. And he was immediately in my inbox the next day. Like, he was immediately in my inbox after he read the post, because he didn't know if I was single. And he asked me to go on a date.
Oh my God.
To breakfast. And I was like, this man is a psychopath, but I'm going to say yes. And then he asked me to be his girlfriend officially on like the third date. He said that he loved me. Like 3 weeks in, I was like, you're either the love of my life or a serial killer, but we're gonna find out.
I mean, I
So.
like the pace, because we don't have to wait for 5 months to know we like each other, honey. Like, but gosh, I wish it is what it is.
He's been saying since the beginning that I'm like end game for him, and like we have a lot of love and very good communication. I think that's the only reason we've stayed together as long as we have, is like really, really good communication and like growth together. So we have a very happy, beautiful life. I love him a lot, a lot, a lot. Like I can't express it in words. And he supports and has supported every weird artistic form job I've quit or gone into. Like he's kind of like my rock. So like it's very nice whenever. Also, like you know him. Like he's just really fucking nice.
He looks shy to me. I wouldn't expect him to be a DJ.
He was a promoter, so like he knows a lot of people, and like he's just a very, very friendly guy. And like, you know, like we went to Elise's wedding, and that was like kind of some of the girls' first time seeing him, and the man can whine his hips.
I know he looks social, but the first time I met him was like,
he gave you he gave you a hug, remember? And you were like, yeah, and you were just like, you want to hug me?
I remember. He just looked shy. Yeah, that was the impression I got.
He's not straight, but like he knows his presence as like a white man in some of these spaces can be very intimidating. So he'll be a little bit more shy if it makes other people a little bit more comfortable.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes coming out as like the fucking 6'1" tall white dude is a little bit intimidating. So like, you know, he could be a little bit shy when he gets into spaces, but once you kind of get to know him, and then like took a twerking class. He comes to Cary West with me. We took a Soca Fit class together. So any white person who tells you they can't dance is lying, because if that white man from White Court can whine his hips like that, y'all got no excuses. He also helps me braid my hair and shit. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
He's well groomed. But then, what's my next question? Now you blew me away with this love story. So, what should we expect from Keeks in this upcoming Pride Month?
Well, I made my post. I'm a lot of different places doing a lot of different things. I'm bringing you Black Country, Janet Jackson. I've got a lot of really new fun sets that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to bring back some old sets that people I don't think have seen too much. And then for the second half of June, I'm going to put my head down because I got to start preparing for whatever next year has in store. So like I don't wait until December, the new year, to start planning my year. Like I know if I want to have a successful 2025, I need to start working on my goals right now. Yeah. So that's my plan. Yeah.
That's amazing. What's your thought about what's happening here in Canada with this drag and trans ban protests left, right, and center happening everywhere?
Oh my God. Another fucking day existing in Alberta as a queer fucking person. It's exhausting. We've had these different governments. Like it's literally always been like conservative, a little chunk of NDP, and then conservative again. So Danielle Smith can kiss my whole ass. I don't give a fuck. But
you're literally close to her the other day.
She was like, bitch, like, don't you have like people's lives to ruin? Why are you drinking a beer at Craft Beer Market watching the Oilers game? But when it comes down to it, not all of us have the luxury to pick up and move somewhere else. Sure. So regardless of the bans, regardless of every fucking thing that the government is doing right now, queer people exist, Black people exist. We are going to be here long after this government has ended and moved the fuck on and destroyed the fucking province. And I really think, in my opinion, we have to start treating the word community like we can't keep treating it like a club, you know? Community means that you leave space for people to like make mistakes and like rectify their behavior. And if we keep on having as much squabbles and petty divisions, and honestly, shit that's not going to matter in a year anyways. Like, it's just like we're at some point in time with the conservative government we have right now at the helm, we are all going to have to get together and figure out our petty fucking differences, because it's going to take all of us to fucking kick them the fuck out. So
hopefully that happens.
Hopefully. I'll be over here minding my Black ass business and standing up for everybody's rights. But
I was speaking to someone and they mentioned a previous guest, and they had mentioned something about token performers.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe this is, in their terms, token performers are performers who are always booked as a POC rep.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that people don't see that they're really not booking POCs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate tokenization. It is one of the most uncomfortable parts of the last 18 years of my performance career, because like I look exactly the way that I look, and usually, honestly, like my rule of thumb, and I know I've only produced a couple of shows, but you can book more than one Black person. Like, we're in a show together coming up in June. We're in a couple of shows together in June. You can have like one like lighter skinned Black person and a darker skinned Black person in your cast. You can have more than 2 Asian people in your cast. You can have a white passing Indigenous person and like a more like darker, like darker skin looking Indigenous person in your cast. And I think when I think about it's embarrassing that we have to keep having these conversations with people, because I genuinely feel like it's very, very easy. And even when it comes to open casting, if you find that Black and Indigenous performers aren't applying for your open casting, you have work to do, because maybe we don't feel safe in the space. Maybe we don't want you. We don't know if you like want us there.
Yeah.
So the best times I've had are when people have reached out to me for bookings. Thank you, Naughty Gutari. They do a very good job of this. But they'll notice like, Keeks, like I want you for this set. Like I want you in this show. Like maybe they've seen the set that I want and I do it. So like when producers do a little bit of poking and just ask, because like we're not mean, like we're not angry.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like reach out and like ask us. I also tell a lot of the newer, you should probably get on it too, but there is something called the Black Burlesque Directory, which spans across all of Canada and the United States. And Alberta started very, very tiny, but I do tell any Black performers who are into burlesque now, because draglesque is a very valid form of burlesque. It's free. It's run by a performer named Poke Chop, and you just go and fill it out and apply. And I think that's a good starting place for a lot of people. So if you're casting a show, maybe you don't know any of us personally, just go there and look. And like our contact information is all kind of like on there. So I do think everybody should get on that more. But yeah.
Sadly, we've come towards the end of the show. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Book Black and Indigenous performers more. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, live fucking life. But we'll be over here. I'll be minding my Black ass business. So.
Right. Drinking water. Where can we find you on social media?
Call Me Keeks on basically every platform with Facebook? Some underscores. Yes, I am on Facebook. I don't be on there. I don't be on there as much as I should be. But yes, Call Me Keeks on Facebook. I've got there's too much on Facebook that I don't like to deal with. But yeah, for the most part, message me on Instagram because I'm chronically online. So
peace, people. Thank you all so much. See you next time.